Hey guys, how's it going? This video was almost a complete fail, but actually I think I was able to salvage it, and more than that, I like it better than it would have if it turned out perfect from the beginning. So let's jump to, was it 2 days ago? Today, as you can see, I've got the topper on the DURAMAX, and one thing this does is get rid of the third brake light. And I don't need to do this, but it's something I kind of want to have for safety and hopefully some looks. Is I got one of these bars to put under the tailgate to do the brakes and the turn signals, and it's also nice that it has the reverse light on it as well, so that'd be nice to have a little extra light back there. I'm not normally a big fan of these. Sometimes they look tacky. You can get the strips and then they, if it's not done right, it's all wavy. I'm hoping I can get this nice and level so that it doesn't look wavy and it looks decent. I powered it on after I got it, and I wasn't too impressed with the running lights. They looked a little bit small. Turn signals when they lit up look fine. I'm assuming the brake light when it lights up will look right. So I'll have to see what it looks like at night. It might be one of those things that I'm going to put on, obviously make a video for, but if I don't like it, I'm going to take it off. So hopefully this will look good. This isn't one of the most expensive ones out there because honestly, I feel like they're just charging you extra for some reason. I don't know if they're any other quality. So if you're not familiar with these, it's a light strip that goes underneath the tailgate, and it has brake lights, running lights, turn signals. This actually has sequential turn signals. I was going to get all red to match the all red on the back, but it was more expensive, and it just, I don't know, I figured the amber might look nice and complement the front. The sequential is a little gimmicky, but I think it'll be right. And then it'd be nice to have the reverse lights on there as well. They do give you the trailer plug to plug in there, but I'm going to hardwire this with the supplier hardware. There's some taps. I have some more of these as well. And then you have to run a separate wire for the reverse light. So I will, I'm going to grab some tools and we'll come back. So the first thing you got to do is actually take off the tailgate. I've got the extra strut here, so that's an extra step for me. On the Silverado, you just take off a bolt on either side to release the cable. You can either do up here or down here. This appears to be 13. There's also a harness for the lock and the camera, if you have one. And the Dodge, the connector is actually here, but it looks like I'm gonna have to get it underneath to take this off. So you can see this braided wire comes out here and connects here. Looks like I actually got it zip tied for something else I was doing. Now the straps are gone and the harness is loose. We'll take off the tailgate. There we go. So now the tailgate's off. You can get the surface cleaned. It's a little cold to paint, but now that little alcohol strip's not going to do anything if you have dirt back here unless the truck's brand new. So you want to clean it off good. Now again, I don't trust this strip as far as I can throw it, but if I can use it and the clamps I will. So I did want to clean out there while I had it open. So it's going to sit somewhere in here, and then obviously it's not going to be sunk that low back there. Put it up like that. Kind of looks tacky with this. I wish this was some sort of frosted PVC on there. You can run this down and wire it up to the trailer connector. I'm just going to plug it in just to test it and make sure the orientation is correct. But I don't want that sitting out of the trailer connector all the time. So what I'll do is I'll take off these tail lights and splice in there. Kind of wish it flashed when locking, unlocking. I think it has a delay in the circuit or something. So maybe it'll be a little bit different when it's plugged into the actual lights. Next up, I'm going to take the tail light out, and it looks like it's just a couple of Torx bits right here. Yep. So now we can see. So ironically, this sketch I found from an older Colorado, I think, was the clearest. We've got a a brake or a light, a turn signal, and a ground. It's probably just ground loop. And then here's signals. Yep. And this has more because this has more because it's all of them coming through. So that's my guess. So the question is, black is probably ground, and then which one is brakes and which one is turn signal. So let's find that out. Expose these here so we can just tap them and get an idea. So I'm going to run this tap on the green wire and just test the signal for it. I want to cut the wire though. Put the hazards on, see if we get a reading of the hazards. Yeah, there we go. So that's turn signal. Yep, that's turn signal. Alright, so that's barely exposed. Let's see if we can get a reading off of here. Let's see if it's a constant voltage. Yeah, that's a constant. Is it constant? Yeah, there's constant voltage there. A half a volt. And this is fluctuating. Yep. So this looks like it's signal, and then this is, this is lamps, and this is the turn signal. So let's try that out. So I went and grabbed the wiring diagram for this bad boy and got the wire separated. I'm just going to run them up. Oh, I don't need to run it. I was afraid this hole would be small and there was big. So I just run that end down for the light. And then I'll also tap into the ground here too. Hopefully it doesn't do anything to the CAN bus. I'm in the middle of moving and packing, so a lot of my tools are all over the place. So back and forth grabbing different stuff here. There we go. Open these up a little bit more. I don't trust those connectors. They don't always give a good connection. So it's better if you can to strip a little bit away first. And I'll tape up these wires too. So it says yellow is left turn and brake. How much we want to bet that this works or not? Put in the comments below. So we're all lined up. Yep, metal on metal in there. It's cold. These wires are stiff. Let's see if I have this right. And you can just close these to do it, but I like to use the pliers. Yeah, so that's cool. So hazard's working. Let's see if we can hook up that brake line. So either I used all the right clips or dropped the bag, but I've got my own collection. Oh, I knew it. All right, this wire broke, so I'm just gonna solder this guy in there. So while the soldering iron's heating up, I just got a real quick join on these wires here to test it before we solder it. So from the preview, it looks like it worked. I'm gonna button up these connections now, solder up that one joint, and get some tape on everybody else. Reverse light taped up, stripped off some for the right turn signal. So when we get underneath, we can run it over there. I don't like these wires being all loose and being able to stress and pull and get stuck on things. So, and also just to make it look a little bit neater, I just taped it up in a couple spots here just to make this one loom through here. So in case you don't know how these guys work, you can see that side's plugged on the top and not on the bottom. So the bottom is your source line that you want to tap and run straight through. And the top is your connection line that you want to tap with. So it goes in there and you push it till it stops. And then you line up the wires underneath there. And then this metal clamp, when you push down, bridges them. And you can kind of close it and it'll do it too, but I just like using pliers so I get a little more force on this plastic on there. And then the plastic clamp just holds it all together. So now you can see that both of those wires can run through the clamp but have metal contacts on either side, thus bridging the connection. So I want to run these up, see if I can get them above the frame here, and then run them up here, and then I can zip tie them in with this other loom that crosses over, and hopefully up through the frame up that way. Probably Probably should have made this one shorter, but I'll just loop it up. So I'm gonna show you this. So I've got a little bit of slack for the bar here. Here's the loom coming up from the driver's side light. Just got a couple zip ties on here for a good measure. The only one that's got to stay loose is the green wire, which is got to go over there. So we'll try and give that as much slack as possible. Couple zip ties. Now I probably could have followed this body harness a little better. Now I'm going to fish it up through there to the light. So this should be dead center of the bed. So I'm going to find dead center of the light bar, not including this part and this part over here. So the light bar is 56 3/4, so halfway is 28 3/8. I marked off with dry erase 28 3/8, and then marked here and here. We'll see how that fits. That's looking pretty even to me. Yep, we'll make it right. Yep, that's looking centered to me. Clamp and got about 1 inch here. And about 1 inch there, and that should hopefully be even. We'll try that out. There's 4 clamps, so I'm just gonna do the first 2 to start. If you have a center punch, I suggest using it so you can punch a mark to start drilling. So when you use these self-tapping screws, they have some place to bite and they don't wander on you. So I've got the first one on. I'm going to remeasure to the top here to make sure that's even. I'm using the bumper as a guide. So I've got the bar lined up and test fit and the end clips. Obviously the bumper's wavy, but I'm assuming it's pretty close to there in the ends. I'm going to get these brackets on here now. I've marked a spot for each of them. It's on. Let's get the tailgate on and see how it looks, and then we'll button up the wiring on the bottom. So exactly what I was afraid of just happened. But I figured, you know what, they make these things. They know where they fit. It got pushed off and knocked the light bar off, and the bed was open. So I knew I should have done this earlier, and I should have guessed by the wear marks, but that's where it rubs. So I don't even know. I don't know if you can use this thing on here. So I didn't want to do this way. Looks kind of doofy on the outside, but I couldn't get it in here without the tailgate rubbing on it, and then my bumper plastic is lifted up a little bit. So I'm going to run it this way for a little while. Maybe I'll research some clamps or, you know, figure something out with this to get it down there even. And I thought like the reverse light was on the bottom, but it's not. It'd be the brake light and turn signal get obstructed, so that would look even doofier. So I think it's okay on the outside. Hopefully you can hear me over diesel, but I didn't want to run it this way. But there's no way to get it to fit under the tailgate and be even the way this plastic is bumped up here. I guess my concern now is that it looks more grandpa. That was kind of the thing, not to be grandpa. I'm gonna stew over this one for a little while. So I like the general way it looks from a distance, but I don't like the mounting point, and I've actually decided what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna rip it off. I think it's cleaner, and then the ones with the bigger lights. Sequential is kind of cool, but it's got to go. But I'm going to use this opportunity to move my trailer. So I had an idea to use magnets or Velcro or something. I think magnets would be better with the metal bed. And I could find them at the hardware store. I ran down to the hardware store and picked up these magnets. And then I've just super glued them on the back. I've tried scoring the surface a little bit to see if that helps. I have no doubt that these will stick to the bed. I just hope that they're strong enough to hold the weight of this and not peel off. I've also created quick disconnects for the reverse light, and then obviously just kept the trailer disconnect. That way if I ever need to take the light bar off or I need to take the tailgate off, I'm not going to have to do any cutting. So what's left is splicing this bad boy into the harness that's already on the truck for the reverse light. So I've just test fitted on the bottom of the tailgate, and it seemed, you know, it moves around a little bit, but I think it's going to hold. If it doesn't hold, we'll just, like I said, come up with another solution. So I was probably being a little too ambitious with the magnets. One of the magnets came off, and then it just wasn't enough. It would slide around. They just weren't strong enough. Maybe I could find some stronger ones, but even then I don't know that they're going to adhere to the light bar. So I'm going to try and get some clamps, because I only have that one clamp left, and then also some double-sided tape. But I do like the way it looks. So this is just with the running lights on and the hazards. and obviously it's just wired temporarily there. I do think it looks good, but I've got it just up underneath this lip here, and the tailgate is actually curved out a little bit, and then this needs to be, the light bar is actually bowed in a little bit because there's brackets here and here and not in the middle, and I was afraid that was going to affect the looks. And then there's the wiring harness for the actual trailer in here, but I mean for the tailgate, but that's behind it, so I think it'll be good. Kind of wish I had done this to start. So that's just with one turn signal on. This is where that, I guess the chip is in there, so there's a little dark spot, so I'm gonna see if I can slide it over when I actually do it. Make sure it's over that way a little bit more so that the dark space is a little more even. I hope you guys like this video, inspired you to do your own thing, or persevere, keep going when things aren't going right. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, may God bless you, and keep standing up for what's right.